religious and spiritual life. It is often said that Indians have an intuitive relationship with the divine. Outwardly, he may be indistinguishable from any other trendy citizen of the world, but even the most modern Indian's inner terrain is liable to be imbued with a matter-of-fact religiosity. Visits to important temples and pilgrimage places, regular fasting, ritual fasting, and turning to traditional religious practices or gurus have not declined with globalization and its worldly temptations. In fact, these have increased since the 1980s and most conspicuously in the growing new middle class. Hinduism in this chapter is exclusively concerned with the faith of the majority and has been shaped by many cross-currents throughout its long history. Over the centuries, the interaction and synthesis of these currents of belief have resulted in contemporary Hinduism with its various teachings and diverse cults. Belief in stones and trees have souls, animism, pantheism exists side by side with the belief in higher gods, and the monotheistic worship of one god is as much possible as the polytheistic or demoniacal adoration of many gods, demons, and spirits, writes the Indologist Axel Michaels. He continues, the religion is lived through ritualistic Brahmanism, Tantrism, devotional bhakti, and spiritual mystic asceticism, yoga, meditation, and heroic forms. And yet, to a large extent, all these forms are peacefully practiced beside each other. One can almost say that religious postmodernism has been realized in India. In anything goes. Here we are not concerned with describing the various manifestations of Hindu religiosity. Instead, we seek to understand the influence of more modernity on the contemporary religious imagination and the religious responses to the powerful processes of social transformation. Our interest, therefore, is on current development such as rapidly growing Hindu nationalism and the changing religious practices of the urban middle class, where it is not religion per se but old religious forms and norms and values which are losing their old verities and must be renegotiated and invested with new meaning. In the following pages we will talk of two important actors on the contemporary religious scene, the Hindu nationalists and the flexible Hindu, and their varied responses to the challenges of modernity and globalization. Uneasy interval. India wins freedom. Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, publisher Orient Black Swan. The failure of the Cripps mission led to widespread disappointment and anger in the country. Many Indians felt that the Churchill cabinet had sent Stafford only because of American and Chinese pressure, but in fact Mr. Churchill had no intention of recognizing Indian freedom. The long negotiations with many parties were intended merely to prove to the world outside that Congress was not the true representative of India and that the disunity of Indians was the real reason why the British could not hand over power to Indian hands. Since there was a misunderstanding and confusion even among congressmen, I decided to call a meeting of the All India Congress Committee. This was held from 29th April to 2nd May 1942 at Allahabad and was preceded by a meeting of the Working Committee from 27th April to 1st May. In opening the proceedings of the All India Congress Committee, I said that a month and a half ago we had met at Wardha. At that time it was known that the British government had decided to make a new approach to the member of the war cabinet, would proceed to India with fresh proposals for the settlement of Indian problem. The working committee at Wardha decided that as the Congress president, I should meet Sir Stafford on behalf of Congress. I had a series of interviews with Sir Stafford and told him that draft declaration was disappointing. It offered nothing here and now and referred to an uncertain future. The proposals about the present was not merely vague, but yielded nothing to popular control. Defense was to be the sole responsibility of His Majesty's government in England. This reservation reduced to nullity the supposed transfer of power from British to Indian hands. In wartime, defense covered every sphere of civil administration, and if defense was reserved, everything was reserved. I reported to the committee that Sir Stafford had in his earlier talks assured us that what was contemplated in the draft was a national government. The position of the Viceroy vis-a-vis the government would be the same as that of a constitutional monarch in relation to his cabinet. The position was not, however, maintained. An even more unwelcome feature is the Cripps offer was the way that the communal and Indian states problem were sought to be settled. These problems should have been left to be settled by Indians themselves, but instead the Cripps offer suggested a most objectionable solution of the problems. As time passed, the pictures Sir Stafford Cripps had conjured up at the beginning of the negotiation began to fade, and what was left was not worth looking at. The British attitude, I told the committee, had been unhelpful ever since the outbreak of war. Congress, on the other hand, went as far as it could to secure a settlement, but it was clear that the British government had no trust in Congress. The government was not prepared to entrust defense to Indians. The stand taken up by the working committee would have involved India in active participation in the war. It was well known that some members of the working committee were with Mahatma Gandhi in their support of out-and-out non-violence. I was, however, happy to say that throughout the 2 weeks of the Delhi negotiations, these members did not insist on their own point of view and judged every proposal from the angle of the defense of the country. They made it clear that consistent with their firm belief in non-violence, they would do their best to assist any national government that was formed as a result of negotiations. John Drake has lived in India since 1979 and became an Indian citizen in 2002. He was taught at the London School of Economics and Delhi School of Economics and is now visiting professor at Allahabad University. He is co-author with Amartya Sen of Hunger and Public Action and India Development and Participation, and one of the co-authors of the Public Report on Basic Education in India. Amartya Sen is Thomas W. Lamont University professor, Professor of Economics and Professor of Philosophy at Harvard University. He won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1998 and was Master of Trinity College, Cambridge, 1998 to 2004. His many books include Choice Welfare Measurement on Economic Inequality, Development as Freedom, Rationality and Freedom, The Argumentative Indian, Identity and Violence, and The Idea of Justice. Today, I'm going to read from the book and the first chapter, A New India. Oh, how the spring of love resembled the uncertain glory of an April days, says Proteus in The Two Gentlemen of Verona. The recent achievements of modern democratic India are not inconsiderable and have been widely recognized across the globe over the last decade or more. India's record in pioneering democratic government in the northwestern world